痛がっちゃいないよ。はっせいとたふっ糸よ工作せよ。無我の境地。はっはっふったっはっよっかかれしはっほっせと影を打つ。なかなか成功。裁きのいか痛がっちゃいないよ。とふふたはっほっふっ邪悪を狩り打つ。
Yeah, that's kind of annoying. I guess I should have gone after the Electro one first because I only have one character that could actually damage the shield, and so I shouldn't have wasted all my water shots on the fire one. Whoops.
かかれ見切りました。争点ついどの目が出るかね。せいた影を打つ。争点
Oh shit, there's blue crystals on this island. Okay, time to go into mining mode.結束せよ。それ剣女盤石。暗算8九。早く。
視界が開けたわね。粉々よ。よっ、それ。ふっ。よっ。
Yeah, I don't like the pink ones because you can actually like ride up them as their AO. Like they're slanted enough where you can actually like your auto attacks can move you forward on top of them, and then you can't hit them, which is kind of annoying. Kind of wish they didn't do that. Like I kind of wish they just made the hitbox stupid. Like makes I'd rather they have a hitbox that makes no sense, but it just makes it easier, right? Like just a rectangle that clearly extends outside of the thing just to make it easier to do. It is kind of annoying that you have to like. God damn it. There we go. Got them both. Is that them all? That's all of them. that was bullshit. That fucking AoE should not have hit me. So it seems like the AoE was slightly greater than the actual AoE it tells you. Because like I was outside that circle, but I guess it was like, oh, the circle is where the blast lands down, and then there's a shockwave next to it. So like I was pretty sure I wasn't actually in the circle. Shouldn't have touched me. Yeah, that is kind of annoying. I've noticed a few times where it's like, yeah, I tried to swap to Clarin, and it didn't work. And so Ryan stayed on the field, and then she took that hit because it didn't swap to her when I pressed the button. Every now and then I've noticed it, where it's just like, I don't know if I'm animation locked, but like, yeah, I'll try to select a party member, and it just won't work. And so I end up having to button mash it, and I really don't hate it when it's unresponsive like that. Because it feels like shit, for one, right? Like, you're push button mashing to do this, and of course that's like wasting time. Because one, now you're doubting yourself. Two, you're like button mashing for a second, where it's like, yeah, in that first half second you were already swapped. You could have selected something else. So when it's just unreliable, it leads to kind of shit like that, where it's like, doesn't feel good. Yeah, so it's hard to tell. Like, if it was just like, if it was consistent, then you could like plan for it somewhat. You'd be like, oh, okay. This always does this, so. But yeah, like, I do wish Clarin had a stagger resistance. Because, like, there's definitely times when you're in the middle of shit. Because, like, you have enough time to essentially get off, I think there's 4 or 5 or something. But it's a perfect amount of 3 basic attacks, 1 skill usage. Each time. I think you can get like 4, maybe 5, I'm not counting, but it's a perfect amount. You have enough time to do 3 basics, and then a skill usage to do your thrust. So essentially it's like, yeah, 3 basics to get your, say, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so slightly less. But yeah, so give it a little half a second more. So I think you get like, what, I think that was 4? Basically, you get enough for that. And you want to be able to get all of them off because your basic attacks are doing your Bond of Life, and your skill usage is what clears the Bond of Life and heals you. So it really sucks when you're in the middle of that kind of thing where you're just like, okay, you gotta get your 3 basic attacks off. If you get staggered by anything, like you get smacked, you get smacked, then you're staggered, and you can't get your shit off, and that blows, because like it interrupts your timing. So you only have enough to do, like as I showed, I guess I was able to get 1 extra basic attack off. So it's like, okay, so I get 1 extra basic. So you have the ability to have a gimme for a basic, but that's like very little time. It's like maybe a quarter, half second or something like that of leeway you have to get your perfect shit off, which is like, that's not much. So that does kind of suck. It's just because like when you get staggered, you're not noticing it. It throws you off, right? Because you're just like, okay, I'm hitting X 3 times and then doing my skill, right? And then doing my R2 to trigger my skill. If you stagger me, I don't get one of my basics off, and so I'm now not getting the full thing because you have to have your Bond of Life to be above 100%. to have your skill do the like 3 times extra damage. So if you just smacked and you don't notice and you're not paying attention, you only get like 2 basics off, and then when you do your skill, you're clearing it, but you're not doing the like 3x damage. You're just doing a shitty thing. Like if you don't have above 100% bond of life, your skill damage, your skill thrust does very little damage. You know, it's like a huge increase. So doing that, I mean, obviously you still get it off, but like it does kind of suck. So you either have to be paying attention to your so either you can't pay attention to the screen and you have to focus your eyes at the bottom for your bond of life and only press R2 when that gets up, but like you still have to pay attention to the screen because you could use your skill to like thrust yourself out of the way to avoid a damage. So it's kind of really annoying because you have to focus on the bottom of the screen, pay attention to your bond of life to see, okay, when it gets 105, once you get 3 basic attacks or once your bond of life goes above 100%, halfway up your HP bar, then do your skill. So you have to focus on there, but also have to focus on your character because you have no stagger resistance. So there are some times where it's like, oh shit, actually, rather than just stand there and eat the hit and maybe get slapped away and miss the entire cycle, you could do a thrust early to get out of the way, reposition yourself, and then continue. So it's kind of annoying. Like, it's not great. You have to focus, like properly focus. You have, like, unless you have really good peripheral vision and you're able to, without directing your eyes to it, be able to see if you have half your bar full of bond of life. If you're able to see that without actually focusing on it, then sure, yeah, you can just focus on your character and then use your peripheral vision. But like, it's tough to tell, especially because this is happening every it's like basic. It's like 1, 2, 3 basic skill, right? So it's like in like 1.5 to maybe 2.5 seconds, you're doing a full rotation. You're doing 3 basic attacks, and then maybe it's like 3. Yeah, maybe it's like 1.5 seconds, right? So it's like each basic attack takes half a second. So you're going like 1, 2, 3 skill. So you're getting bond of life to 105%. Within 3 basic attacks, which is 1.5 seconds. So you have 1.5 seconds. So it's like, yeah, to think that your peripheral vision is so good that you can see, oh yeah, I hit 1.5 seconds. I hit 105%. I can do my skill now without focusing on it. I mean, it's possible. Obviously, you could have really good eyesight, really good dynamic vision. Sure, but like, it's not realistic to expect people to be able to do that. So that does kind of suck. I do dislike that. The fact that you have to both focus on your bar, your HP bar for the bond of life, as well as your character themselves, because you can't you can stagger them, so them taking damage will kind of stagger them. So maybe if you had like other characters, like if you had Pyro, sure. You had Pyro, you get overloaded. So they're getting blasted away. It's staggering them in and of themselves, so you don't have to worry too much about being staggered yourself, because the reaction will be staggering them. So you could do something like that, but generally it's just, yeah, it's kind of sucky that you're just kind of like relying on not being screwed. Like, are you killing them enough? Are you doing enough damage? It's pretty quick. Like 1.5 seconds, like, you're not going to have that many things attacking you that quickly. So it's not like super bad exactly, but like, it is still rough. There definitely have been times where I'm just like, okay, I want to do my attacks, I want to set up my combos, and yeah, I get staggered out of it. And I'm so, not staggered out, but like, there's like the few things where it's like, oh shit, I missed a basic because something hit me and it delayed me by half a second, so I missed a basic, and I did my skill too early. But then it usually takes you out of the way. So at least usually gets you enough time. Then there's the ones that really fuck you over. The actual big hits, where like a Minotaur slams down with his axe, and now you're flown into the air. For that, you're just fucked. Because you lose your entire cycle. You waste so much time that you've just missed one of your 3 basic attack skill combos. So you're just simply lost 25% of the damage that skill could have generated. Which sucks. Obviously it sucks. That's why it's like you have to pay attention, because If you were paying attention to the screen and not your Bond of Life health bar, you might have been able to do a premature skill dash through him or just further out of the way, and you wouldn't have been hit by the AoE. So it's just one of those kind of annoying things where it's just like, they're fucking you over. How many of these do I have? How many pearls do I have?
決闘では様々な敵と
I don't have many of these.
ほとんどのものは敗れ
Let's just spoil some time here. So yeah, it's obviously not the end of the world, but it does kind of suck. Because like that's where her damage comes from. And obviously, like the super sucky thing is, like if you're getting hit by that, let's try this. Is this the two purple things? Oh hey, how's it going? It's a hydro damage one. Oh, it's not that one. It's this one. Okay.
風よもみちば散らまく惜しみさゆるかさい
Oh, pretty good. Been relaxing. I have today off, so I've just been played a little Honkai Star Rail earlier today. Did the whatever that new mode was called. Got my Shui Yi to Constellation 6. I mean, I throw it on YouTube. I throw all my shit on YouTube. So that's why. That's the main reason why I stream is so that I can just throw the VODs on YouTube. So either if I ever want to go back and see what I missed or see what I was doing, see what what's happening in the game at that time, I can go back to my streams and check. And then of course, if other people want to watch them, more power to them. Again. Shit. Yeah, I messed up my fucking rotation for that. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun. So like, there's two things. I don't know how far you've gotten in Honkai Star Rail, but there's two new things they've kind of added: the Divergent Universe, which is kind of like a different take on the simulated universe, which I think is actually a lot of fun, a lot more interesting, because it's a little quicker. And then once you like get through the end, and the equations kind of make it cool, and like give it a new take. And then when you get to the end, you can save all your buffs, and then use that save file to just crush the end bosses that you would normally have to go through an entire simulated universe run to fight for relics. So it's much quicker to get the relics. So if you've saved up a lot of things or you want to have a lot of stamina, you can just like blast through and just like target farm one of the bosses and absolutely crush them and much faster. So like that's pretty cool. I do enjoy that. I have been liking it. I thought actually the save was like something that saves permanently. Like I thought it was going to be something like, oh, hey, cool, you have the save file. You only have 4 save files, and as you continue playing the game, you like get the perfect save files. So like the save files are there forever, and all you do is just overwrite them whenever you find something better. So eventually you just get a ridiculously powerful save file. But I logged in. And I was like, oh, like I was doing this week's thing for the points, and I realized, oh shit, my save file was gone. So these save files are only there for a week. Shit. I thought they would be permanent, even though they did say it, but I wasn't paying attention. Either way, it's still pretty good. Like you can save your little your relic redemption tokens, your stamina tokens. You can just save them until you have 8 of them. Yeah. So you can still save until you have 8 of them, Or maybe you have 8 of them, and then you get this week's bonus, and you essentially could just like spend all 12 at once. Like run the weekly thing once, get a good save file, and then just blast through all your tokens. And you could do that like every 3 weeks if you don't want to like have to do it every single week. But and I think it's good that I realized that sooner rather than later. So at least I'm aware of it. So, and it's not the end of the world. It's not that hard to get through. I just was the main reason I was like, oh man, is because like the previous week I'd gotten a really good one for the elation path, and it had like fuckload of blessings. And so I was like, oh man, I'm disappointed that I lost that. But then this week's one, I did it again. I think I ended up being like hunt, elation, preservation. I got some hunt, elation, preservation, maybe some destruction equations. And so I was still doing an elation path. Actually, yeah, I chose a weird elation path. So typically my favorite elation path simulated universe runs are with Dr. Ratio, Adventurine, Robin, and Topaz, and they're really, really good. Like, if you do them with a normal simulated universe elation path, it's ridiculously powerful because like, everything Topaz does is follow-up attack. Dr. Ratio's strongest things are follow-up attacks. His skill has a pretty good chance of follow-up attacking. When he does his burst, he gets 2 free follow-up attacks. Adventurine is causing follow-up attacks with his shielding every 7 times, every 7 stacks he gets, and every single follow-up attack adds to his stacks. So if you take damage, if you get shield, Adventurine shield reduced, he increases the stacks, double if it's his own shield, and then every single one of your follow-up attacks also does that. With Robin's ability to action forward your entire team and do ridiculously powerful damage boosts. Like, they're really, really good. And then there's like all the elation buffs are just super helpful. So, but I was like, okay, well, the cool thing about Divergent Universe is you no longer need to worry about, oh yeah, it's a really good synergy. But like the cool thing about that Divergent Universe is you no longer need to build anything. Like if you don't have the character built, as long as you have the character, I think they might even, I don't know if they give you a free trial for characters you don't have, but as long as you have the character, it automatically levels it to 80. Or it automatically matches the level of the Divergent Universe you're doing. So you can like do characters that might not be super built, but you really wanted to use them. So the last time I ran it, I was like, okay, I'm going to try a different follow-up attack build. And so I went Herta, Himiko, Clara, and I think I still chose Adventurine. Oh, thanks. I think I still chose Adventurine because all of them were doing follow-up attacks, and so all of their follow-up attacks still boost Adventurine stacks, and you need a preservation. You need a sustainer. Like, you can't do Simulated Universe without a sustainer unless you're doing an incredibly glass build type of thing, or unless you've gotten enough blessings to kind of make up for the fact of a lack of sustain. Like, because there are some blessings that's like, oh, anytime you do this or that, you get heals or shields, which at that point, if you've gotten enough of those blessings, you could remove your sustain and just focus on that. But it's still kind of glass build, because if anything goes wrong, you're fucked. So it's still better to have one. But yeah, so I was like, okay. So I tried that. Herta, Himiko, Clara, and Adventurine, to give it a shot. And I was like, it was actually still pretty good. Like, I got to you beat the first boss. When you beat the first boss, you can continue going. And if you beat the 2 follow-up bosses quickly enough, within 2 turns, you get a shitload of extra bonuses. And while Herta and Himiko and Clara do some really good follow-up attacks, they're pretty slow. Like, they're mostly AoE. I mean, they're both erudition, so they're much better against large groups of enemies versus, a very few strong enemies. But I was still able to actually kill them very close. I was very, very close. But I was still able to kill them within those 2 turns for both times, so I was pretty pleased about that. And so at the end of it, like, my Divergent Universe run had an amazing save with some pretty good elation and hunt shit. And so I fought I decided to fight Yang King for his relics, the Glamoth set, the Glamoth and Penacony set. Because the Glamoth is a pretty good set overall. Because it's just purely your attack goes up, and if you hit certain speed thresholds, you get even bigger amounts of attack, which is, for some hunt characters buff their own speed. Like Seele buffs her own speed. I think Shushang buffs her own speed. I think even Dan Hung, I think he has a speed buff. He has a self-speed buff. It's not huge, but still a little bit. So it's pretty good. Like you'll see it for a lot of DPS characters, like mainline DPS. You'll see a lot of them have Glamoth set as their best in slot, just because of how useful it is. Because and you also have speed buffers, like Hanya can give a speed buff to a character. So hey, yeah, your character can't buff their own speed. Sure, that's fine. Like get their speed up to a reasonable level, and then Hanya can just bump you up to 160 speed, so now you have the second damage bonus from the Glamoth set. So, like, there's shit like that you can do. And then, of course, like, Simulated Universe, Divergent Universe, both have blessings, and a lot of these blessings can also boost your speed. So it's like, yeah. So it's, all in all, it ends up being pretty useful to have. I don't have a lot of these. I mean, no, I don't have a lot of those. So, the Glamoth set is pretty good. Obviously, there are more like specific ones, like some of the, like depending if you need like break effect or if you need. I mean, I think there's a new follow-up attack set. I'm not sure if that's better than Glamoth. Glamoth is just kind of easier overall because it's just the 2-piece gives you attack percent. If you can get to 135 speed, you get a 12% damage bonus for everything you do. So that's basic attack skill, ultimate damage, follow-up attack damage, all of it. And if you get their speed up to 160, that 12% goes up to 18%. Whereas other things are like, might be more specific, might give better buffs for a specific thing. Like, it might boost follow-up attack damage specifically. Kind of like how the Salsoda set, if you get 50% crit rate, your Salsoda set will increase your ultimate and follow-up attack damage by 15%. So you could be like, oh yeah, for Salsoda is better because it's 15%. 15% is better than Glamoth's 12%. But like Glamoth's 12% would also include basic attack and skills, and not just ultimate and follow-up attack. So, and it gives an attack percent bonus. Salsoda gives an 8% crit rate. So it's like depending on what your crit rate ratios are, without that 8% from Salsoda, if you're still able to get a decent crit rate, then you don't really need Salsoda's 8%. So, yeah, there's a lot of shit that goes into it to see kind of which is the best. I don't look that up. Like I don't like figure it out myself. I look it up. I like look up a guide and say, okay, what's the best? Because that's way too much for me. Like it's way too much for me to care. I'll just see, what's listed as the best set. Let the guide makers do their thing and tell me, this set is better because it has a 5% increase in damage. Cool, I'll take your word for it. So I'm just gonna fucking figure that out. Like, you can have a general idea, usually. You can kind of see. And typically, like, if you see a relic set introduced in a patch, it's probably pretty good for the patches. Whoever's introducing that patch too. Oh, it was nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you feel better. You can rest well. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm going to be on fairly early tomorrow. I might I'll probably stream Genshin for like 30 minutes, but then I'm going to get into Final Fantasy XIV, and I'm going to play Dawn Trail from the early morning. Oh, thank you. You too. Have a nice rest. Hope you get to fall asleep quickly, and I hope you wake up feeling refreshed and healthy. Ah, thanks. I mean, you don't have to push yourself. If you're still feeling well, you don't have to do it. I throw all my shit on my YouTube VODs too, so you can watch it there to see what you missed. If you're interested in Final Fantasy 14, or I mean, if you're playing the game, then this will be a spoiler because obviously this is the newest expansion. but it's still fun to watch. Well, probably it's still probably fun to watch. But it'll be pretty cool.
私のお家にいらしご助力を。はっはっとほれやっはっ雲がく借りなく時マイルふっ全部丸見えね。瞬く間にの憩いはっそはっはっはっ逃がさない。はっ行こうよ。はっせい行こう。風よはっご安心を。健康よ世の乱れを切り尽くせ。行けはっ全部丸見えね。ふっはっはっそれと陣営のごとく。ご助力を。風の雲の行くごと風よ行け 我が剣よ影に従え。急がないと。逃げ道はあり。
そう俺が守るよ。
武器を捨てろ。
花火見いひん。やっ
裁きの雷。
炎の盾5時の炎。
投降しろ。稲光すなわち永遠なり。
それ
動くな。法の裁きを受けてこい。
気ぃつけるで。
俺が守るよ。
武器を捨てろ。見切りました。無我の境地。やっはっそこはっふんせい。
Oh yeah, Torian, I forgot about her. Yeah, sure, I'll use her. You're level 80, right? So my own personal built ones will probably be better. Let's move two on the back.
逃げ道は
火に気をつけろ。5時の炎。
投降しろ。影を撃つ。 悪を見極め影を狩り尽くす。
助立ち参上。
この裁きを裁きの雷稲光すなわち永遠なり。ひゅっやっふったっはっはっ見切りました。
炎の盾
投降しろ。
五時の炎。
射撃準備。邪悪を狩り撃つ。
それ
逃げ道はありません。ここより弱滅の時。やっはっ
炎の盾助立ち参上。
それ悪を見極め影を狩り尽くす。最後の警告だ。この裁きを裁きの雷稲光すなわち永遠なり。てっはったっ
それ五時の炎。
蒼天はっ邪悪を狩り撃つ。で武器を捨てろ。投降しろ。逃げ道はあります。
俺が守るよ。
ここより弱滅の時。
Oh, that's much longer. Well, these were a lot tankier than the other ones, I think. I'm not sure what the normal amount is for that. I'm actually surprised there's not a higher difficulty. Typically, all these ones have an extra difficulty on top of it, which I think you might be able to do right away. But yeah, usually they have like or was that torturous? They usually have something even stronger, which is like really fucking tough for the actual sweaty nerds who have like wailed, or the incredibly skilled people who maybe haven't wailed but still have built their characters very well and have the skill to utilize them to their max. But anyway, I ended up lying. I thought I would do I would start with Sigewinne's quest. But then I got distracted with the blue rocks on Watatsumi. So since I knew that those were there, I was like, oh shit, if the blue rocks are at this spot next to this ley line, that means the entire Watatsumi has blue rocks at its ore deposit. So I'm like, oh, I might as well get them since, I know. I'm not going to go hunt them down each day, figure out where they are, but like if they're right there, might as well. You always need more weapon experience. And then, since I'm doing that, I also kind of got into I didn't do a full Spectre farm. Like, typically, what I'll do for Spectres is I'll do a much wider sweep on Watatsumi, getting some of the ones down below. But since there is a pile of blue rocks right next to where some of the Spectres are, I'm like, okay, I might as well get some more, because I always need those Spectre husks, because I end up running out fairly regularly, so might as well get them. And so yeah, that took a little time, spend more resin. Like the fact that I had 5 condensed resin and was also capped on my resin means that shit. Whoops. So I ended up spending all 5 condensed a full new stack of them. So I think I ended up, I might have done some in between. I'm not sure. I guess I only have 2 now. So I guess I condensed. Yeah. So essentially, I basically spent 9 condensed resin getting random shit today. So that ended up taking up time, and then of course dailies. But dailies didn't actually take much time. But I was thinking, I'll just pop in, do my dailies, and then start Sigewinne's quest. But I'm like, oh shit, I have all this resin I need to spend. And then I also got distracted. And there's no world rush, because like Sigewinne's quest is going to last forever. And it was just released, so I have 3 weeks to do it. So at some point, while I do my workouts, I will eventually get to it. I'm not in a huge rush. And yeah, it's almost like an hour already. I'm kind of tired. I get something to eat. And definitely shower off, because it's getting much hotter now. So doing this inside, doing my treadmill walk inside is definitely much better than doing it outside. but it still doesn't make it less hot. Well, I mean, it does make it less hot, but it doesn't make it not hot. Just because it's hotter outside doesn't mean the inside of my home isn't super hot. I mean, it's not even super hot; it's just 79. So, like, that's not much. But outside is probably like even higher. Alexa, what's the temperature outside? Outside is 83. It's not that huge. It's not a huge difference. It's 79 inside, 83 outside, and it's already 2 o'clock, so it's almost 3. So it'll probably not get that much. It probably might only get up to 83 max, and then start going down again. But still, 79 inside, so it's still kind of warm in here when to be walking. But regardless, I'm going to go ahead and log out for now. I will probably not be. I don't know. Like, I have a friend coming over. We're going to play some Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I might stream that. I might stream co-op with him. Because I don't really play the game. I don't really play that game that much. I bought it to play with a co-op buddy of mine, but then they're just, are not nearly as available as they used to be. So I'm like, hey, I haven't really been able to play it that much. I played it a little bit solo, and I did like it. It's still fun. But I heard like a lot of bad shit about the end game. Like the DLC was just kind of underwhelming, and the end game loop was kind of unsatisfying for a lot of people. So, and I heard like some negative things about weapons, but it's hard to say because like Borderlands 3 also had people saying negative things about the weapons because like some weapons were absolute dog shit, some were like super good. Then they like did some nerfs and buffs, and they were doing constant nerfs and buffs when Borderlands 3 came out. And basically at this point, they've kind of like stopped that. And so there's a lot of really good weapons, which is cool. Like that's nice. It's good to have a few options, but like some options are still just so much better, and some weapons are still just dog shit. There's no real point in getting them. And then the problem is the balancing of legendary weapons versus non-legendary weapons is crazy. So like if you get a legendary weapon like early on, you're like set for the entire game. Like you can basically use that to like clear everything because of just how great its damage is compared to like other weapons. So even if you'd have to get like a really good purple, and there have to be like a 20 level difference in the weapons level for you to have that purple actually be more powerful than the legendary. And even then might not be, because legendary is not just its damage, but its effect. And sometimes its effect is just so ridiculously useful, and maybe synergizes very well with your build or whatever. So like Borderlands 3 balance kind of got screwy. So like that's why like you don't see many people replaying that as much, is because like it's harder to do challenge runs on Borderlands 3, because like the second you get a legendary even on a new run, because like I see other streamers, they're like, oh, they do Borderlands 2, they do Borderlands 1, and they do like, oh, I'm gonna use only this type of gun, or I'm gonna only use guns from this type of manufacturer. And that actually adds a lot of challenge, because like you're not getting those guns all the time. You Borderlands 1 and 2, you just don't get legendaries that much. So it's like every single gun matters more, because like you're not going to get a legendary that's going to carry you for the rest of the game. So every single, and you might get a legendary and it'll still be good, but like even like legendaries just don't pack the oomph as they do in Borderlands 3. So you get a legendary and it's good, it's better than your other shit, but like it might just carry you for only a few levels. And then, of course, if you're doing a challenge run, if that legendary is not within the manufacturer type or the gun type that you set for yourself, you just can't use it. So generally, 1 and 2 are just more challenging, and you can do challenges to make it more interesting. And then they're just like our mods too. You have like randomizers and all that shit. And technically, I think Borderlands 3 does that. Could have that maybe, but it's just like because 1 and 2 are just more punishing and challenging because of how relatively balanced the guns are. Because of how they do their difficulty modes. Because like Borderlands 2's difficulty was purely just level based, and then are you in normal mode, are you in true vault under mode, are you in ultra vault under mode, and it would change the modifiers and stuff for that. And then they had overpower, but you don't have to do overpower at all. So it's like, and then overpower is also like something super end game too. So it's like by that point, it's like you already have good shit, so it just gave you something to work towards that you could clear, a challenging thing that you could clear. Increase the difficulty of your world, and now you can get better weapons at overpower level 1. Whereas Borderlands 3, it was like the second you beat the main game, you can then instantly activate Mayhem mode, and then just like start ramping up Mayhems until you get to Mayhem 10. And then once you get Mayhem 10 weapons, you can just like destroy shit. Like, you kind of need Mayhem 10 weapons to do well in, like, the modes, but, like, just the scalings end up being pretty sweet. So, and that's the thing, is that the games design their weapons around Mayhem mode, so it's like, oh, okay, we're assuming that, you know, most people are going to be playing on Mayhem level 10, so we're going to make sure the weapons are good and scale well to that level, which usually ends up, like, buffing their base damage without changing the Mayhem scaling modifiers for damage. So it's like, oh, we'll leave this at like a 50% modifier every single Mayhem level, and we'll just increase the base damage so that it has more impact, which ends up like that. That's why, like, when you play a brand new game and get a legendary, it's so ridiculously powerful because of how they scaled the base damage of the weapons. Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's still fun. I enjoy Borderlands 3. I think I enjoy playing Borderlands 3 more than I enjoy playing the other two. But I can definitely see that, like, from a streaming perspective and for other people, why it's just more enjoyable to play that, because it feels more rewarding, because it is more challenging. There's a lot of things that just are more difficult. And I like slag in Borderlands 2 just blows. I hate that mechanic. I absolutely do. Because, like, I get it. Like, it's cool. Like, it's like, oh yeah, sure, you can get them slagged. It's like they're now have a dot, and now your other non-slag damage does even more damage. So it's like a cool little modifier. But the sucky thing is, in practice, what it means is that in one of your guns or your grenade has to be slag damage, has to apply slag, and if you do your grenades, if you run out of grenades, you're fucked, because now you have no way to do slag damage, and like all the enemies are scaled in a way that you need to be able to get that 2 times bonus modifier for fighting, you know, beating from attacking slagged enemies to kill things fast enough to not die. So you have to be able to apply slag. So putting on a grenade, if you're not being able to get grenades back, means you're going to run out and things will take longer. Or if you put on a gun, that means one of your 4 guns now has to be a slag gun, and you have to constantly swap to the slag gun, apply slag, and then swap to the non-slag, and then attack it with that. And that's just fucking annoying. That's why the grenades are like feel better, because you'd be like, okay, you go into battle, you throw the slag, and then you can use any of your 4 guns to do it. But then you just run out of grenades sometimes. You could run out of grenades. So it's like, so it's better to have a gun, and that's why it's like it's better to have a slag gun and a grenade, so you can apply grenades for most of it, but then you still have to have that slag gun. And none of the slag guns ever really felt super strong, because like you're not using them for the weapon damage in and of itself. You're just using them to proc slag before swapping to an actually powerful gun. So it's just like, it just feels like shit, because you're never going to use this. You're going to use the gun as little as possible so that you don't waste ammo, and so you always have, you know, be able to do it. So it's the gun that's essentially just dead weight, but you have to have, so you can do any sort of damage. And then in Ultra Volts Underground, it's even worse, because the slag modifier is a 3x increase in damage. So if you attack a slagged enemy, you do 3 times more damage, which means having it is even more important. So, yeah. Like, that mechanic I just don't like. That's why, like, Maya was kind of interesting. I'd be kind of interested to try a Maya build, because I think Maya's skill could apply slag, which is great, because Maya's skill has its own cooldown, so Maya's skill combined with a slag grenade means you could just focus on powerful guns, or guns that you like. And you can always start with Maya's skill. If you ever need to randomly apply slag, like and your skill's off of on cooldown, you can do the slag grenades instead. So it's like, cool, okay, I guess. But like, it's this whole thing you just have to work around because of how annoying it is. And Borderlands 3 doesn't have that. It's just like, okay, no, just do whatever the fuck you want. Here's the modifiers based on your, you know, enemy type and weapon type, and that's it. Simple. But they just made the weapon super powerful. So like, that's the thing. It's like, I get it. Like, that's why Borderlands 2 is more challenging. It's definitely more skill related, because you have to be able to apply slag. Like, it's all about applying slag and then doing as much damage in that burst window as possible. So obviously the skill ceiling is higher to do that than just use whatever gun you want and kill them. So, and then Borderlands 1, I never really played that much. So I'm not sure how that... It doesn't have slag, but I'm not sure how its difficulty works. I think its difficulty is just more difficult because you have less skills. Like, there's less bonuses you get from leveling. Your skill tree is much more basic, whereas Borderlands 2 has a much more intricate skill system, and then there's the slag and all that bullshit. And then Borderlands 3 was amazing because I had now started with 3 skill trees, then became 4 skill trees, and then you can increase the level cap as well, so you could have a lot of build variety. And then, well, I guess they always had 4 vault hunters. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, so Tiny Tina's. I just never really heard amazing things about Tiny Tina's. Like people say the Borderlands story was kind of stupid. Some parts of it were, but it was just kind of silly, and I still enjoyed it. And I haven't heard amazing things about. I haven't really heard anything about Tiny Tina's story. So anyway, so I might be. So yeah, that's why I went on this tangent. So I might be playing that later tonight, and I might stream it, and throw it on YouTube. So I might only do that when I'm co-oping with my friend. Well, we'll see. See if he's into it. Hopefully he is. I think he'll be down to play it. We'll see. So I might be on later today. I might be playing that game. And then I will be on bright and early tomorrow. Probably just quickly pop into Genshin to do my dailies, spend my resin. So that, and then swap over to Dawn Trail and play probably 8 to 12 hours. That will be my goal. Not really goal. I think that will be probably what I will end up doing. Is I'll hop on. I'll probably set my alarm for 8 in the morning. Hop on to Genshin. I might stream it, but it'll be like a ridiculously fast. I'll pop in, literally doing my dailies, just condensing all the resin I have, and getting the fuck out. So that's why I'm like, I might stream it, I might not, because it's like a 10-minute thing. Is there a point to stream 10 minutes? Who knows? But then, yeah, on to Dawn Trail. And that'll be tons of fun. Anyway, so thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time.